Good evening and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be for people who are not currently in cryptocurrency. For whatever reason, I'm going to explain it in a manner that I hope makes sense. I highly recommend you watch this entire video. I'm going to be going over a lot of important information. After this, make your own decisions, do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm doing this as a public service to help people better understand the space because there has been entirely too many lies told about this space and false narratives. And so I want to clear a lot of that up in this video. So what is cryptocurrency? So if you can understand this concept, you can understand cryptocurrency. So stay with me here. Let's say this is Joe in the bottom left-hand corner. He owns Google and Apple stock. Okay, those stocks just sit there with whichever brokerage they use, Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, their 401k provider, however they have that structured, okay? But you don't really do anything with the stock. It just hopefully appreciates in value, right? Now, imagine that all the publicly traded companies that offer stock and you can buy their stock, all of them were to tokenize that stock. And I'll explain what I mean by this. So what would that mean as far as tokenizing stock? Well, whereas before the stock is very illiquid, meaning it doesn't move very easily and you can't do a whole lot with it, tokenizing that stock would allow you to do different things like you're at Walmart and you want to pay with Google tokens, right? The tokens accrue value and appreciate in value the same way stock does. You don't lose any value from going from a traditional stock or a share to going to a token. It still appreciates in value the exact same way, just the tokenization of that stock or that share makes it more liquid. It allows you to be able to spend it out at stores. Why would you want to do that? I'll go over that in a second. So this is Joe. Joe's at the store. He pulls out his app. He pulls out his, Google tokens, and Walmart does accept Google tokens as a form of payment, and you pay through your Google tokens, and you're done. You pop up a QR code, boom, and you're finished. Okay. Somebody might say, well, why would I do that? That's an appreciating stock. Why would I spend that? Or why wouldn't I just use cash, so on and so forth? I'm going to go over that. Okay. Another way where this could be used, the tokenization of stock. Okay. That's what I'm going over here is the value in tokenizing stock and making stocks more liquid. Another additional benefit here is if you have two individuals, let's say they're on different sides of the world. One is in the US and the other one's in Australia. Okay. One of them owns entirely Apple stock. The other one owns entirely Google stock. And they want to diversify their portfolio. They want to split it 50-50, Google and Apple, right? There is a global network that is being created. Okay. And on this global network, we can get on the same network on other sides of the world and we can exchange value for value, right? You might have something I want. I might have something you want. We can get on one of these applications on a blockchain, which I will go over that in a second, and we can exchange value for value. Don't have to go through any brokerage. We don't have to call your financial advisor. This is a way for you to exchange things that you have with somebody else that has something that you want. All right. So that is the concept. If you can understand that concept, you can understand cryptocurrency. It is the tokenization of stocks. Okay. Now, this is a common misconception. People say, oh, well, it has no value. The same way that a Google token would have value because Google as a company has tons of value. That same concept applies to cryptocurrency. Now, there are 10,000 cryptocurrencies. Not all of them are backed by a real software application or computer network like Google or Apple. Not all of them are backed by real services. So not all of them have real value. That's why it's important to do your own research. But the main ones, for the most part, have new, better technology than anything that we have on the market right now. And as opposed to going public on some type of IPO and selling stocks, they are creating tokens, and you buying those tokens represents your stock or stake in that company, your partial ownership of that company. So it's just the tokenization of stock is all it is. Okay. So why would I do that? If I was Joe, why wouldn't I just use cash right here? Because my Google token is appreciating. Okay. Well, if you have $5,000, and let's say that you have $5,000 additional cash, so you came into some money, you saved, whatever it may be. If that's sitting in your bank account, you're losing value. It is depreciating against inflation, because as they continue to print money, that $5,000 becomes less and less and less valuable. It might still say $5,000, but if the price of everything goes up during the time that you had that in your checking account or savings account, then that $5,000 is worth significantly less. However, if you were to take that same $5,000 and to put it into digital assets, whether it be cryptocurrency, whether it be stocks in a tech company, whatever it may be, the inflation and the money printing just, drives the price of those assets up. So you're outrunning inflation. One, it's going to drive the price up just because there's more money in circulation and there's more money chasing these digital assets. So it's going to drive it up that way. On top of that, you have people who want to buy these assets because their networks are growing at a rapid pace and continually being adopted, just like any new technology. Okay, so cryptocurrency. They are tokenized stock of the software companies and the computer networks that sit behind them, the same way a Google token would sit behind Google, and the Google token would be valuable because Google as a company is valuable. Okay, so that would be the advantage and the benefit to having your value tied up in things that actually appreciate in value as opposed to depreciate like it does with dollars, especially at a time of very high inflation, which is what we're seeing right now. So you're connecting everybody on a global network, you're allowing them to transact. There's going to be 1,000,000 times more transactions than there were in the old internet and the old economy because of the legacy payrolls. This is very important. Please stay with me. Those legacy payrolls make moving money very difficult. For me and for you, it looks very simple. We go in the store, we swipe our card, and we're done and we're finished, and it looks very simple to us. However, in the background, there is a big process that's going on with an archaic financial system. The different touch points that everything has to go through for a transaction to be complete is insane because they're operating on old, outdated technology. In our economy, our internet, and the way and commerce in general is very limited on how much it can grow because our financial system and our transactions are operating on such outdated technology. Okay, so every single cryptocurrency, the main ones, let me put it that way, not every single one because there's 10,000, but the main ones have a real software application and computer network that are behind them that give them value the same way a Google token would have value because Google has value. Okay, same concept applies. All right, now this is using blockchain technology. All right, so it's new technology. Just like the iPhone, just like e-commerce, just like social media, this is new technology. Well, blockchain was developed years and years ago, but is using it in this manner is something new, and it is much better than what we currently have out there on the marketplace. So you don't have to understand the nuts and the bolts of blockchain technology to get what's happening here. That's very important. We can go over that in a different video, but for the sake of this video, it's more secure, it's much faster, it's easier to connect platform to platform. That's a problem with our current internet. It's easier to audit. Okay, transactions are final. They are minted on the blockchain. You can't have somebody go back in and change the transaction to make it say something else. Okay, those are things that cannot be fraudulently manipulated. All right. So it's open source technology. So anybody can get on and go and look at the source code. Now, you and me might not be able to make sense of the source code, but it is open and transparent for those individuals, those programmers, those developers to be able to get on and to look at it. So in that regard, it's very open and very transparent. It provides new payment rails to replace our outdated financial system. So beforehand, we're running all the payments and everything on these super outdated payment rails using COBOL software developed decades ago, the old ACH system. It's a nightmare, it's inefficient, it is not secure, and it's going bye-bye. So we're moving all those transactions to being done on the blockchain, on numerous different blockchains, okay? It removes the barriers of transacting in different countries. If I want to send money to South America or to Europe or to whatever it may be, there's a lot of regulatory ins and outs, and there's a lot of transaction fees. It's not secure. It takes entirely too long to do that. And if you're looking at the remittance market solely, Remittance payments are a huge source of revenue for many countries, many lesser developed countries. Let's say that they come over to the States, let's say they go into the UK and they're working in those states on a visa, but they're sending money back to their home country for their family. They are getting eaten alive through transaction fees. Now, these are individuals who cannot afford to be eaten alive by transaction fees. But because our technology is so archaic and outdated, and because those companies have a monopoly on the money movement space, they get eaten alive through these transaction fees, and it does nothing but make their family receive less money, the money that they need to continue to live their life, pay their bills, get food, buy other things that they need to buy, the other essentials, okay? So it's removing those barriers, and it's making transacting very, very quick and seamless and cheap, the most important part. Now, the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency narrative, please understand this, the narrative has changed. Now, the narrative has not changed with normal, everyday middle class and poor people. I don't mean that in any type of derogatory manner. I've been poor for most of my life, okay? So I don't mean that in a derogatory manner, but the narrative has changed with the people in charge and with the big billionaires. Because if you're sitting here saying it's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, it's pumping up, it has no value, it's backed by nothing, right? It's going to get banned, it uses too much energy, all this other stuff. You need to understand that you're going to be all alone repeating those narratives, because the big money has already pivoted and is no longer repeating these narratives. And I will go over that here in a second. 2020 to the present, about 18 months ago, everything changed. And in the last 6 months, everything has dramatically changed. There's been more announcements that have come out from large corporations and institutions than I can keep up with. And you can go through all of my videos and look at them yourself if you would like to. Okay, big tech, Wall Street, corporate America, central banks, countries all around the world are adopting this technology at a rapid pace. Okay, now, why would we need 10,000 internet currencies? We don't, and many won't make it. And don't think of these as currencies. Okay, just think of these as tokenized stock of software companies that offer software products, computer networks that are going to power the future internet of value. All right, that's what they are. Stop thinking of them as currencies, because it makes everything a little bit more confusing. They are not created with the intention of solely being an internet currency. All right, they are tech platforms like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, and they offer specific services like being a web browser, being a VPN, being a loan platform, a streaming service, right? A bunch of different applications with different software services that they provide that adds value to the users that use those services. Okay, that's what gives them their value. All right. Instead of buying stock, they have tokenized the stock and they call it cryptocurrency, because the cryptographic element that goes into developing this type of technology. The government is going to ban it. Well, the SEC and the Fed already said that they have no intentions of banning Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And so those would be the two regulatory bodies that would be involved in some type of a decision like that. So they've already come out and said that that's not even on the table. So, and when are they going to do this? Tim Wu, one of the main economic advisors to the president, he's a Bitcoin millionaire. Politicians on both sides of the aisle are supporting crypto and Bitcoin adoption. The Miami mayor is now going to start getting partially paid in Bitcoin. The New York mayor, Eric Adams, Democrat, just elected, said he wants to make New York City the Bitcoin hub of the US or maybe even the world. Out in Austin, Texas, they just decided they were going to duplicate what they're doing in Miami with Miami coin and paying citizens Bitcoin yield. Okay, in Tampa, the mayor also came out and said that he was looking at getting paid in Bitcoin. I mean, this is just the other day, Philadelphia came out and said they're rolling out their own blockchain initiative. So this is happening in countries all over the country, or in cities all over the country, and there is no pushback coming from the federal government. So understand that. These mayors are doing this with no pushback up until this point, right? So government's allowing corporations to put this on their balance sheet, accept crypto as a form of payment, and using these new technologies to run their business. So they're allowing all these corporations to do it. Not only are they allowing it, they're not even saying anything about it. They're not even mentioning it. The SEC also approved a Bitcoin futures ETF, and they will allow the Grayscale Trust. They have allowed the Grayscale Trust where institutions can invest in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So the SEC has already allowed this. The Coinbase also has government contracts. Coinbase is also a publicly traded company, right? Meaning that they've gotten approved by regulators to be a publicly traded company. They do nothing but sell cryptocurrency on their exchange. Okay, So CBDCs will replace cryptocurrency. I've heard this a lot. I can go into more depth on this, but CBDCs are married to blockchain tech. If they weren't, there would be no mention of a CBDC. They would just take cash out of circulation and everything would be digital. There would be no talks of a CBDC. There would be no teams looking into CBDC development. Why would they need that if we're not moving away from our old legacy payrolls? The CBDC / stable coin conversation is entirely contingent on using new payrolls and using new technology to move these stable coins or CBDCs. If not, cash would just go out of circulation and we would continue business as usual, and because everything would be digital and they could just call that the CBDC. But that's not what they're doing. They're not doing that because this is a new type of currency with new payrolls on the blockchain as opposed to the old legacy payrolls. Okay. On top of that, many crypto-based companies, and I'll go over this here in a little bit, are working with central banks around the world on developing their own CBDC. So central banks are working with the private sector on developing their own central bank digital currency, which will work together with cryptocurrencies and the blockchain ecosystem. So Bitcoin has gone from $1 to 60,000 in the last 12 years. This is a logarithmic scale. And if they're going to ban it, when are they going to ban it? At 100K, at 200K, at $500,000? When are they going to ban it if they haven't banned it already? Okay, and again, they've already said we're not going to ban it. So that shouldn't even be a reason as to why people say that they're not going to get in, even though I'm not giving financial advice. Bitcoin becomes the best performing asset of the decade, returning 10 times more than the NASDAQ 100. Who's already involved? Everybody. To put it in as short and quick as I can, everybody's already involved, except for normal, everyday middle-class people. All right. Cash App, Robinhood, Twitter, PayPal, Facebook, Stripe, all either in or has announced that they're rolling out a strategy to get in. Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, all sponsored by crypto-based companies now. You might start noticing this as you turn on the TV. You start seeing more crypto, and you're going to continue to see that because this is the new system. That's my opinion. That is an opinion-based statement, but that's my opinion, okay? But you're going to start seeing this more because you've already started seeing this more over the last 6 months. That trend will continue. All of these financial institutions that used to call it a scam, and this is why it's so important for you to understand that the narrative has changed. If you're repeating any of these narratives on the left side of your screen, you're going to be all alone. And quite frankly, I'm not trying to come down on anybody, but the joke is going to be on you because they've already bought in. They're already advising their clients on getting in. They're already allowing their companies that they own a decent amount of stock in, they have decision-making ability on their corporate board. They're allowing those companies like Cash App, like MicroStrategy, like Twitter, like Tesla, they're allowing them to buy Bitcoin and put it on their balance sheet, okay? So, and Fidelity has a Bitcoin ETF that's waiting on approval, that they're actively lobbying the federal government on approving their Bitcoin ETF. They're predicting Bitcoin at $1 million, in however many years from right now. All of these financial institutions are in. All the big financial institutions are in. The large asset managers, the large banks, like the big 4 consulting firms, they're all in. Just do a Google search with, just pick a name of a large financial institution and type in that name and then Bitcoin, or that name and then crypto, and then boom, you'll see it all right there. This is all publicly available information. Amazon and Walmart have both come out and said that they are hiring teams to roll out their own crypto strategy to be able to accept crypto as a form of payment. Walmart is also implementing Bitcoin ATMs right now in many of their locations. Amazon Web Services has said that they are putting together a team to allow companies to offer services to companies who want to accept crypto as a form of payment and then custody that crypto and put it away in storage. They want to make that process seamless for companies. So they themselves, Amazon themselves, are rolling out solutions for companies to do this. Microsoft, Apple, Visa, MasterCard. Apple did say that they are not looking at directly integrating any type of cryptocurrency into their services. But Tim Cook came out and said that, yeah, I own cryptocurrency. I've been interested in it for a while. This is a multi-billionaire, one of the most powerful people in the world, the CEO of Apple, coming out and saying, yeah, I own this. I've been interested in it for a while. Okay, Visa and MasterCard. I mean, just Google search Visa, MasterCard, crypto, and look at everything that you're going to see. They are making the scaling of crypto as a form of payment. They're making this scale at a rapid pace. All of these billionaires on the front of your screen, they're all invested in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So just go look any of these names up and type in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. You're going to see all the different articles that pop up. These are some of the wealthiest, most powerful people in the world. Talk about Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, the CEO of Twitter, the original creator of PayPal and Palantir. You're looking at Elon Musk, right? George Soros and the Soros Foundation. Regardless of what you think about any of these individuals, Rick Ryder, the chief investment officer at BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world with $10 trillion of assets under management, regardless of what you think about any of these people, these are some of the wealthiest individuals in the world running some of the most powerful companies in the world. And they're all saying, we're buying Bitcoin. We're putting this on our balance sheet. We're going to start accepting this as a form of payment. Okay, Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most respected investors in the world, has said Bitcoin is the fastest horse. I'm putting my money on Bitcoin to outrun inflation. Okay, so this is from the World Economic Forum, shaping the future of technology, governance, blockchain, and digital assets, ensuring equity, interoperability, transparency, and trust in governance as a distributed ledger technology, and accelerating the necessary changes for this technology to reach its full potential. Just go Google search any World Economic Forum, crypto. They have tons of articles. They put articles out all the time. They have their entire team of people within the World Economic Forum that is actively working on crypto adoption and blockchain adoption globally. If you did not know this was happening, this is happening. Regardless of what you think about this organization or any of these individuals, the point that I'm trying to get across to you is that there might be enough information out there for somebody to come to their own conclusion and say, this looks like it's going to happen based on all of this information. And so if I come to the conclusion that this is going to happen, then what's my next move? How do I need to prepare? And what do I need to do for myself to make sure that I'm not on the wrong side of this thing? But this is not financial advice. 3 ways cryptocurrency and blockchain are being adopted. You can buy crypto, put it on your balance sheet. Corporations can accept it as a form of payment for goods and services, like a Walmart or an Amazon have said that they are putting together teams to look at doing that. Corporations could adopt blockchain networks for applications for business operations. So if you know anything about how a business operates, they use numerous different platforms to run their business, right? Maybe for accounting, they use something, for onboarding their employees, for supply chain, right? All of these different things, for inventory management and other areas, for customer relations, to keep all their customers in their CRM. There's a lot of different applications that businesses use to run their business, to make business operations easier and more automated. So they are going to be adopting a lot of blockchain technology to run their future business operations. Here is an example of that from one of the largest consulting firms in the world, Ernst & Young. There are 4, the big 4, Ernst & Young, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, and KPMG. These are the biggest 4 consulting firms in the world, and all of their clients are the largest corporations in the world. And EY announces integration with Polygon protocol. This is a blockchain and framework on Ethereum scaling solutions. Okay, Polygon is its own cryptocurrency. The Polygon protocol is the network that Ernst & Young is going to be using. Okay, it offers enterprise users increased transaction volumes with predictable cost. So Ernst & Young was using the old legacy payrolls with old systems to do this before. They're now moving that part of their business operations onto the Polygon network. The same thing is happening with MoneyGram. MoneyGram announces innovative partnership with Stellar Development Foundation to utilize blockchain technology. Using the old legacy payrolls and the old systems that they used to use, migrating all of those business operations to the Stellar blockchain, getting rid of the old payment rails, moving to everything being on blockchain. Okay. And this is another way that they could look at adopting cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, buying it and putting it on their balance sheet as opposed to holding cash. Because remember, we went over this at the beginning of the video. If you're holding cash, you're losing value against inflation. And especially when inflation is very high, you're losing even more. So if you just have cash sitting anywhere, it is losing purchasing power. So we're seeing corporations pivot and move to putting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies on their balance sheet so that they can not lose a ton of value as inflation continues to get worse and worse and worse. So Tesla buying 1.5 million in Bitcoin, plans to accept it as payment, right? MicroStrategy acquires additional Bitcoins, and Square buys another 170 million in Bitcoin. This is the report on stablecoins from our federal government, President's Working Group on Financial Markets, and the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. So this was a report they put out about 2 weeks ago. It was a 25-page report. I'm not going to read through all of it. Think of stable coins like a digital dollar. It's just distributed on a blockchain as opposed to the old legacy payrolls. Okay, that's the best way that it's pegged to the dollar. So it's just going to look like a dollar to you, except it's being moved on a blockchain. So under there, at the very end of this report, under experts and advocates, they have the Stellar Development Foundation, the very same blockchain-based company that MoneyGram has now moved their transactions onto. I believe this is going to start in January of 2022. So the very same Stellar Lumens XLM is a cryptocurrency. The blockchain itself is what MoneyGram is adopting to now do a lot of the transactions that MoneyGram does. Okay, so that very same crypto-based company was an expert and advocate and essentially an advisor to the federal government on the report on stablecoins that they issued not too long ago. We're seeing worldwide crypto adoption skyrocketing, hitting over 880% in 1 year as far as the growth. Okay, this is being adopted at twice the speed of the internet. Think of crypto as just another technology. This is the new tech. Okay, just like the internet came out, just like e-commerce, just like social media, video games, smartphones. Think about how much this has changed the way that we live and interact with each other, and how much it's just changed everything in general, right? You're probably watching this video on your smartphone right now. Think about how much that's changed things. Think about streaming, how much streaming has made TV irrelevant, right? How much it's just completely eliminated DVDs, okay? So new technology comes out and it starts to be adopted rapidly, okay, because it's better than what we're currently doing. What you need to understand is that blockchain tech, cryptocurrency, the new blockchain ecosystem is a million times better than what we're doing. The same way that streaming was better than going and buying DVDs, okay? The same way that smartphones were better than the old phones that were put up on our wall, okay? The same way that video games have evolved, the same way that social media is a better way of communicating and staying in touch with people, as opposed to calling them on your landline and or sending them letters or however it is that we used to communicate before the internet. So this is just new technology. Now understand this about new technology. Technology starts being adopted rapidly when it's a new, better type of technology, like all the ones on the left side of your screen. Now, that's the same thing that we're seeing with cryptocurrencies. It's the fastest growing technology that we have ever seen before, okay? So that trend is going to continue because it's just better technology, like all the other examples. So that trend is going to continue unless something acts against it to stop the adoption from happening, right? Nobody acted against the internet, e-commerce, social media, all these other things to stop the growth of that technology or the adoption of that technology. And unless somebody is going to step in and stop this from being rapidly adopted, it's going to take over the same way that these other new pieces of technology completely took over the way that we live our lives. And if, I don't know, you could tell me who's going to step in and stop this. Nobody wants to stop this. The people who would stop it have already stepped in and said, we have no plans on banning it. So there is no opposition. The only opposition to this is normal, everyday middle-class people at this point in time. Everybody else has already gotten in. All right, so all these organizations are advocating for it, are adopting it, are the biggest proponents to it at this point in time, for the most part, with varying degrees, company to company and billionaire to billionaire. But without something acting against this, without people stepping in to stop it, it's going to continue to grow and it's going to continue to take over, and the price is going to continue to appreciate. And the dollar is going to continue to lose value to Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Who is involved? Everyone. What is cryptocurrency? It is the tokenization of the stock of these new tech companies that are going to run the future internet. Okay, this future internet has a financial system built into it. All right. Where is it being adopted? Globally, everywhere. When did this happen? Adoption picked up tremendously over the last 12 months, but especially over the last 6 months. We have seen a wave of institutional adoption over the last 6 months. Okay, it's very important that you understand this. Why is this happening? Because it is new, better technology that can connect the entire world on a global network. It eliminates millions of barriers. I understand the other concerns. I'm not getting into those in this point in time. I have those myself with issues about privacy and potential overreach and the potential to abuse this technology. The same way that, with the internet and in the same way with social media, right? We've seen new technology come out and we've seen instances where technology was abused. So I had the same concerns as everybody else does. But what I'm here to tell you is that in all those other instances, did any individuals concern about that technology? Did that stop it from being adopted? No. And this will be no different from that, in my opinion. That is my opinion. We have extremely outdated payrolls in the banking system. So if you can come to the understanding that we're going to update our payment network and backend infrastructure that runs our banking system, if you can wrap your mind around at some point in time that's going to happen, just understand it's happening right now. Okay. If you can make sense of at some point they're going to update this because it's too old and it's inefficient and it's not working like it should, and it's preventing commerce from growing at the level that it should. So if you can come to that understanding, just understand that it's just happening right now. And this is the time that it's going to happen. This will generate exponential wealth the same way that the internet and social media did. You think back about how social media just has created an insane amount of wealth. Why? Because it lets people like me create my own TV channel. Okay. It lets small businesses take their business online. Okay. And promote their services across the entire social media network, bringing in more clients. Right. So the same way that the internet, social media, smartphones, this new technology caused immense exponential wealth, cryptocurrency is going to do that times 100. Okay. Because everything will be brought onto the blockchain. All value will be on the blockchain. So I don't know what else to say in this video. I hope I did a good job explaining this. Mainly, I wanted to let you know that the old narratives that used to pyramid scheme, it's a scam, it's a pump and dump, none of the people in charge are saying that anymore. And they haven't been saying that for quite some time. Now they're saying, I'm buying, I'm trying to do I'm getting into this one, I'm getting into that. And, I'm really big on the space and we need to figure out, regulation and all this other stuff. So there's none of that anymore. The only people saying these things on the left side of your screen are normal, everyday, middle-class people. That is it. None of the elites are saying this anymore. All right. And the only people that could step in and stop this have already came out and said they have no plans on stopping it. So that's my video. I hope I did a good job explaining this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have questions that you would like me to answer, please let me know in the comment section below. I will give you my email address. I do not want a dime from anybody for anything. I solely want to inform everybody the best that I can on what is going on here, because if they're going to make a decision about getting in or not getting in, it's important that they have the information that I went over in this video. And this is not all the information that I could go over, but this was just the best that I could do in 30 minutes. Okay, so that's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching, I greatly appreciate it, and take care. Have a good night, and I will see you in the next video.